credit's no good. You flipped the script, you shot the plot, and I remember when the neon used to burn so bright and pink. Saturday night, kind of pink. Blacklisted and its host. Came down so swift, and we drove them to the coast. Going California, but we're all out of work. I guess that's better than a grave and it hurts so. Whoa, whoa. Hey, little Hollywood, you're gone, but you're not forgot. You got the cash, but your credit's no good. You flipped the script, you shot the plot, and I remember when the neon used to burn so bright and pink. Saturday night, kind of pink. Devil's in their rush. Stuff tape makes you hush. Hey, yes, so don't let me cut you a deal. I'm a little hungover and I may have to steal your soul. Hey, little Hollywood, you're gone, but you're not forgot. You got the cash, but your credit's no good.
So we're gonna, oh good, the microphone works, even as short as I am. Thank you. It's actually not great to make me emotional at the beginning of this, but I really appreciate the applause. I think we're really applauding, we're really clapping for each other. This is an incredible convening from people with lived experience all the way up to our elected officials, and I am just so honored to welcome you. And in good fashion, we start on time. We've got a really full schedule. And, but I just want to take a minute and appreciate all of you for coming, being a part of this, and having the confidence in and belief that coming together is one of the key core elements of addressing homelessness. You know, this is our very first conference. I think all of you know that. It hasn't been done before, and yet I think it is an important standard, which is why we're calling it an annual conference. I'm really fortunate I get to go to national conferences, and they're not always affordable or close enough for people from many of our grassroots organizations or smaller organizations to attend, and especially our local folks with lived experience. So it was important to bring the conference here about us, with them, to work on the issues. So the conference is Solutions for San Diego, because we are very solution focused. And it's anchored on our newly released regional plan to address homelessness. So tomorrow, all of your sessions align with a population goal or a strategic change goal of the regional plan. So I expect we're going to have some great discussions. I'm going to encourage you to participate robustly in the panel discussions. They're for you, and we want to hear from you as we have a lot of national, state, and local experts and people with lived experience on those panels. So be a part of the conversation because you're a part of the solution. I'm also incredibly overwhelmed by the level of support that we've received from the community for this event. We couldn't have done it without our sponsors, and one of the very first to jump in and join us and to be our title sponsor is Blue Shield of California Promise Health Plans. They were literally within days of us putting out the information, signed up, lined up to support you all as a title sponsor. And I'd like to invite Kim up from Blue Shield to give a couple comments.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody. We're honored to support the Regional Task Force on Homelessness and the community in their work in addressing homelessness. The conference is an important convening of everyone in this work, from elected officials to outreach workers. Working together on solutions to address homelessness is all of our responsibility, and Blue Shield of California Promise, we know being homeless increases people's health risk and exacerbates health conditions. This is why we are proud to be the title sponsor and the conference and working together on solutions of ending homelessness. Ultimately, having a home and proper services, improve health and wellness, we have a shared goal and partnership. I wish you all a wonderful and successful 2 days of community, and we are thrilled to be sponsored. We share and hope your continued success. Thank you.
Got to turn the page on this. So again, thank you, Kim, and thank your entire organization. You know, our health plans are important partners in the work that we do, and they are showing up in ways that we haven't seen at the level that they're investing today. So this is just evidence of their commitment. A couple quick pointers. If you haven't downloaded the Whova app on your phone, if you can, you should. It'll give you all the updates, the agendas, where sessions are at. Also let you communicate with others at the conference and network. This is a conference for networking. Also, if you want to participate on social media and tweet about it, our hashtag is solutions4SD. So share your thoughts and communication through social media as well. You know, I am absolutely honored, and it is such a pleasure for me to introduce Mayor Todd Gloria. He has been a relentless champion of this work, and no one understands these important issues more. Nor could we have a more committed mayor. And so I'm going to welcome him up to kick off our conference.
Thank you so much, Tamara. Good morning, everybody. Okay, that's not bad. That's okay. I am blown away by this crowd. I was told that there'd be a couple hundred people here. My understanding is there's over 700 people here. That says to me something, confirms what I know, which is that San Diegans are very concerned about this issue, and importantly, they're willing to take action on it. And so I wanted to start out by saying thank you to all for being here today to try and endeavor to find solutions to this biggest issue that is impacting not just San Diego, but every city and every county, every state in this country. You know, getting to be your mayor is the biggest honor of my life, and one of the things that comes with this job is the opportunity to talk with mayors all across the country. And whether it's a red state or blue state, big city, small town, coastal or interior, every mayor I talk to says that this is the issue they hear the most from their constituents about. And while it may seem overwhelming in terms of the size and the scope, the solutions are at the local level. And so I appreciate the chance to be here with the Regional Task Force on the Homeless, with Tamara, with my friend Kim Fritz and Blue Shield. Thank you, Blue Shield, for supporting this event. And I think it's appropriate that we're here in the San Diego Convention Center. I want to just remind some of you that it was not that long ago that this convention center served as the largest homeless shelter in our city's history. During the pandemic, over 1,500 people at a time called the convention center home when we were telling people they must stay home to keep their health safe. Much has happened since then, and as the pandemic waned and we shut down the shelter here, in order to return the convention center as the economic driver that it is, we had to find more work to be done in the community to address, again, this issue that I hear the most about. And I want to take a few minutes this morning to share with you some of what we're doing. As I look across this audience, many of you are full-fledged partners in this effort, and I want to thank you for being partners in this effort. But I will tell you that as we buttoned up operations here, and thank you to the Housing Commission and all those who helped make that possible, we began to build up our homelessness response system with more street outreach, more shelter beds, and more permanent supportive housing. That's often what I'm asked, Mayor, what is your plan for addressing the homelessness crisis? Outreach, shelter, housing. So let me tell you a little bit more about that. When we wrapped up services here at the Convention Center around March, April of 2021, in March of 2021, we started the city's Coordinated Street Outreach Program, deploying outreach workers in every city council district in the city, and a few months after that, we expanded it even more. I want to thank Path, who is our partner in doing that work, and to the outreach workers, I know some of who are here, thank you so much for what you do. I have a special place in my heart for the folks that are willing to go out into the community every single day and understand that you're often going to be told no, but knowing that tomorrow you might actually hear yes. And it's your persistence that gives me, that inspires me to continue to do the work that I can do in trying to solve this particular problem. That summer, the summer of 2021, we launched a month-long concentrated outreach effort here in downtown San Diego. Many of you were involved in that. Our County of San Diego was a full-fledged partner in that, and I deeply appreciate it. We deployed outreach workers in downtown, and then we now have replicated this particular effort every 2 weeks at hotspots all across the city. And we actually post the results of those efforts on our city's website so we can be transparent to you all about what sort of results we're getting from these concentrated efforts. Also in the summer of 2021, given the importance to San Diegans of addressing our homelessness crisis effectively, I created a permanent department at the city, the Homelessness Strategies and Solutions Department, and then brought on Hafsa Keika to help lead it. And since then, Hafsa and her incredible team at HSSD, another acronym, that's all we need, right? They're doing good work, though. I'm willing to add that acronym into my lexicon. HSSD have been largely focused on standing up new shelters that serve specific needs among our unsheltered population. And I want you to listen to what we've been able to do over those last 2 years. We've partnered with the County of San Diego to open a 44-bed community harm reduction shelter that serves folks struggling with addiction and co-occurring behavioral health issues. We've opened a temporary 40-room non-congregate shelter down in the South Bay that prioritizes seniors who are matched to housing resources but have not been able to get into that housing resource yet. A 40-bed shelter for women in downtown San Diego called Rachel's Promise. Another partnership with the County of San Diego on a 150-bed Rosecrans shelter that includes behavioral health resources. All told, in this short time, in the 2 years that I've been able to be your mayor, we've been able to increase shelter capacity in our city by 40%. And there's more that's on the way. Recently, I had the opportunity to go visit with our governor and explain to him why we need our homeless grant money. And that money is going to help expand additional shelters in our community. So we've taken possession of a 32-room hotel on Pacific Highway, which will serve up to 60 vulnerable seniors in a non-congregate setting. And we expect to welcome the first residents at that shelter this December. Also, we'll soon be opening a non-congregate family shelter that will house roughly 160 people. And we will partner with the county once again on a 22-bed non-congregate safe haven for folks with more acute behavioral health needs. We're also in the early stages of planning a new LGBTQ shelter. We are working, oh, right. My people are here. We're working on opening a pilot safe camping site in downtown San Diego with space for 40 tents for seniors. And we're working on a safe park. All right, there you go. Yeah, I'll take that. I don't always get applause, so I'll take whatever you can get. And we're also expanding our safe parking program, making one of our 3 sites open 24 hours a day, and we're working to add a 4th lot off of Morena Boulevard in the Bayho neighborhood. The ultimate goal of our outreach and our shelter programs, of course, are to get people into housing, permanent supportive housing. And we're working constantly at the city to make sure that we're making it easier to build affordable housing in every community. Under our Bridge to Home program, we invest city dollars directly into affordable housing projects in every corner of the city. So far, we have announced 2 rounds of funding and funded 10 separate projects that will create 904 new affordable homes, 232 of which are reserved for people experiencing homelessness. We have a 3rd round of funding coming very, very soon. So I hope that what you're hearing is that we're doing more than we ever have done to address our homelessness crisis. And yet I will say what is already on your mind, Mayor, if you're doing all of this, why is it not getting better? Why is it just getting worse? And you're right. The fact of the matter is our regional task force has told us for every 10 people that we connect to long-term housing, 13 people fall into homelessness. When you understand that the average one-bedroom apartment in San Diego is roughly $3,000 a month, you understand very quickly why there are so many people on our streets. And so I'm going to continue to work at the city level through our housing action packages to increase the amount of housing we have in the community. I know some neighborhoods are not supportive of that, but you can't tell me that you don't like homelessness and then simultaneously tell me you don't want new housing. You either want new housing or you want more encampments. That's the choice. And I'm not undecided on this matter. I want more housing, not more encampments. Folks, as you all know, this is the greatest challenge that we have in our region, and as I've already stated, across the state of California and across our entire country. And I wanted to tell you this morning, as you prepare for this day and tomorrow, that I want you to hear this promise from me. As long as I'm your mayor, I will never, ever give up on making sure that this is the top priority, and we do everything we possibly can. This is the 8th largest city in this country to get people off the streets and get them into housing permanently. I will not stop. I will continue working at the state level with Governor Newsom and our state legislature to pass important mental health and behavioral health reforms. Our current system is from the 1960s. It does not match our current experiences, and it must be reformed and updated. I believe we took a big step in that direction this year with the passage of Care Court, but we have a lot more work to do, and I'll be in that fight to make sure that happens. Regionally, I'll continue working with our incredible county of Board of Supervisors. Let me just tell you, across this state, there are not a lot of cities and counties that work together on this issue well. The city of San Diego and the county of San Diego do, and that is a game changer, and that saves lives. So to Nora Vargas and to Nathan Fletcher and to the entire County Board of Supervisors, thank you for being wonderful partners in this effort of getting people off the streets. We will continue that dialogue and that work together. And last but not least, I must mention that I have incredible partners on the City Council, specifically led by their president, Council President Sean Elo-Rivera, who is here today. Sean and I and the City Council will continue our work to make sure that we're expanding our outreach efforts, our shelter efforts, our safe parking, our safe camping, our permanent housing efforts, tenant protections. The list goes on and on. We just met yesterday for about an hour. We talked a lot about this issue. We'll continue to do that to make sure that we can put some results on the streets. I want to just sum up by saying addressing homelessness is incredibly difficult work. And it's emotionally taxing, and it's often extremely frustrating. I think you all would agree with me on that. We cannot give in to that frustration or into that, give in to those emotions. We have to be persistent on this matter. There's no reason in a city, state, and nation as wealthy as ours that people should be living outdoors. And so what I will say is that by seeing you here today, present and willing to be a part of the solution, it gives me hope that we can in fact tackle this issue substantively, that we can transition the thousands of people who will call a street, a beach, a canyon, or a sidewalk a home tonight, that we can find a better place for them, that we can treat them with the dignity they deserve as human beings, recognizing that we cannot be America's finest city if we have thousands of people who are unsheltered. I appreciate what you do, I appreciate your involvement, and I ask you to stay with me in this effort. Outreach, shelter, permanent housing, we can solve this problem if we work together. Thank you all for being a part of the solution.
Thank you, Mayor Gloria. You know, those are powerful words of commitment, and I know he means it, and I think that that is a charge for all of us to come together to really address the issues. Not only are we honored to have our mayor here, and I know he's running out, we double booked him, and he's got a couple other things he's got to do, so thank you. As Mayor Todd Gloria said, you know, we have a really active city council on this issue as well, and no one more committed or driven to address this issue than Council President Sean Elo-Rivera. I had the opportunity to work with the council president as he was a member of our COC board before being elected, and so I got to have an opportunity to know his heart, mind, and dedication to people in San Diego before being elected, and he only has elevated that work. Council President Elo-Rivera is leading in finding solutions. He is doggedly determined, he is willing to say the hard things out loud, and he understands the challenges. Council President?
Good morning, everyone. Hey, you're waking up. Typically, the mayor is very difficult to speak after because he's very good at his job, but he actually teed things up pretty perfectly. Tamara, thank you for the introduction, the kind words, the invitation to speak this morning. When I was thinking about the conversation that I wanted to have with you all, the short conversation, I also was very much thinking about where we are. And so if I can, in many ways, I think this is actually the perfect setting. And if we can for a moment, I want us to think about what we would see if there were windows on this side of the building. The beautiful bay looking out toward the bridge in Coronado, one of the best settings in the country. And on the other hand, what we would see if we were looking out this way and some of the suffering, basically the epicenter of San Diego's suffering as a result of homelessness. We are sitting right between the beauty and the suffering that is a reality of life in San Diego right now. And I think that that's kind of perfect because homelessness forces discomfort on all of us who see it, and even those of us who try not to see it. And part of that is because it places a mirror up in front of our faces as a society, as a community. We are one of the most beautiful and blessed cities in the wealthiest nation in the world, and thousands of people slept on the streets last night. That should make us extremely uncomfortable. And the issue of homelessness is ripe with similar points of tension and contradictions, just like we have the beauty and the suffering. The more we think about homelessness, the more we can see those sort of points of tension and contradictions. There's the gut punch of seeing that true suffering that's on the streets. When we see a family or someone who's clearly not well, and how much that hurts many of us when we see it face to face. There's also the frustrations of folks who own businesses or live in a community that's being impacted by what happens when people are living in conditions that they're not meant to live in. There's the reality that homelessness at its core is a housing issue, and the very real, very devastating presence of mental health crises and substance abuse that's happening on the streets. There's the tension that the mayor spoke of folks demanding fewer encampments and less homelessness on the streets, but doing everything in their power to prevent homes from being built in their neighborhood. There's the respect and admiration that many of us vocalize for the workers who are serving people experiencing homelessness, while so many of them are making wages so low that they can barely keep a roof over their heads. And even the data can seem contradictory or at a minimum confusing, and the mayor spoke to this. San Diego housed thousands of people who were experiencing homelessness last year, thousands, and didn't just get them in a shelter, got them permanently housed. And at the same time, we slid backwards. We are doing a great job and a terrible job at the same time. And all of this is overlaid with an additional layer of discomfort as a result of the uncomfortable and unacceptable and shameful reality about the disparities that our Black community sees with respect to homelessness. The fact that Black San Diegans are exponentially more likely to experience homelessness than anybody else. All of that makes us uncomfortable and hard, and at times can feel like it's driving a wedge in our community. Those who want immediate action to alleviate suffering, those who want immediate action to no longer see the problem, people who are frustrated with those of us in leadership from both sides, from both camps. But I think what I will leave you all with is a hope that one, we can start with some truths, and these are the truths from my perspective. One is that housing is a human right. And if we fail to treat it as such, we will not see meaningful progress on this issue. Two, that there are no silver bullets, and as much as we would like there to be, As much as we would like for a single solution to drop out of the sky and homelessness to go away, that is not happening. And we need to accept that. However, at the same time, we should accept that progress is good. And in my opinion, anything that we can do to alleviate suffering a little bit or to get one person housed is an option that we should be considering. The next thing I'd like to do is just lay out some commitments to you. The mayor did an incredible job of expressing his commitment to not give up on this issue, and I will do the same. I know what it's like to not know where I'm going to sleep at night. I know what it's like for my family to be unstable with respect to their housing and for us not to know whether or not we're going to keep a roof over our heads or their heads at the end of the month. I know that this can happen to anyone, and I will not forget that. That's a commitment from me. I will also stay committed to focusing on prevention, because we cannot make progress no matter how hard Tamara and her team tries, or Hafsa and her team tries, or any of the providers out here try, so long as we're allowing folks unnecessarily to slip into homelessness at the rate that they are. I also have some requests. Before being elected, I was an organizer, and as I often say, organizers are trained to never lose an opportunity to have folks in a room and make some commitments, to make some hard asks. So there's going to be some asks from you all. The first is to embrace discomfort, to remember that we have literally a roof over our head right now, we'll have a roof over our heads tonight, and whatever uncomfortable conversation you are having, I promise you that is far more comfortable than what folks will be experiencing on the streets tonight. And shying away from those conversations is a disservice to those who are on the streets. And so for those of us in this space today and tomorrow and moving forward, to be willing to be uncomfortable for a little bit, knowing that we're working towards solutions. The second is to have my back on the fight for homelessness prevention. Folks, that's hard. I'm telling you, we are up against it. And we're trying hard to get it done, and we're building a coalition to minimize the number of evictions that are happening that are pushing people into homelessness. But if you're out here doing this work on the daily, I need you all to explain how you can't make progress if we keep allowing folks to unnecessarily slip into homelessness. We are up against big, moneyed, powerful interests that don't want us to make changes. And I need you to have our back on that. The third request I have for you is to keep your eyes focused on the goal. That even if you are uncomfortable, and there's a discomfort in the room, and there's arguments happening, to not allow differences around your tactics or strategies to address the problem distract us from what we are trying to do here. And that's because, and this is tied in my fourth request, and Tamara is so good about always reminding us about this, at the end of the day, this is about people. People who deserve a roof over their heads, who deserve to be seen as people, and we cannot be distracted from that. No matter who is trying to distract us, or no matter how uncomfortable the conversations we are having may be, we have to stay focused on the people. So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all this morning. I'm very appreciative that you are committed enough to be here and spend your time in this space focused on this issue. I hope you will embrace the discomfort over the next couple of days in pursuit of solutions for the people we are trying to serve. Thank you, everyone.
Sean, you're a hard one to follow. I'm just going to say. The mayor and council president, amazing leaders in this space. But I also have to echo something that Mayor Todd Gloria said. We are at a sea change in San Diego with the leadership at the county and the way that they are not just leaning in, they are stepping in the middle of this work, bringing services focused on the major issues and continuing to increase the work that they're doing. I am so honored to introduce our County Board of Supervisors Vice Chair Nora Vargas. She is a fierce partner in this work and also our past Vice Chair of our board. Thanks.
Buenos dias. How's everybody feeling? You all are rock stars, you know that, right? I mean, this is a really tough issue. And every day you wake up and you make a difference in people's lives. So I need you all to give yourselves a round of applause this morning. And I say that because I think that no matter what we do every day, it's just never enough, right? It's never enough because we know that unfortunately, in the fourth largest economy in the world, there are people who are sleeping in the streets, sleeping in inhumane ways, and the fact that you have the corazón and the ganas and you wake up every day and you do this work to make sure that people have a very different experience. I really believe that you are truly the unspoken heroes in our community. So I really wanted to say thank you to all of you for the work that you do every day. Yes, please. I want to thank the Regional Task Force for all the work that they do. And Tamara hasn't been around for a long, long time. So I just want to make sure we give her a big round of applause because, you know, leading an organization with a lot of people with a lot of opinions, it ain't easy. And what she does it with style, with dignity, and to make sure that everybody's part of the table because there is no one solution to addressing this issue. It's an array of solutions, and the only way we're going to be able to end homelessness, because that should be the end goal, right? And so that you know, I became the vice chair of the Board of Supervisors about almost 2 years ago, and I have the honor and pleasure of working with people like Barbara Jimenez. Barbara, where are you? So raise your hand. Everybody knows Barbara Jimenez. She's a rock star. Where are you? No veo. Oh, there you are, over there. You know, working with her and Nick Maccioni at the county, and from day one saying to them, we need to end homelessness. That should be the goal, right? It shouldn't be like, let's have another committee and let's have another this and that. How are we going to get to make sure that everyone who wants to be in a home has access to a home, and that everyone who doesn't even know that they want to be in a home can be in a home, right? Because for many reasons, people end up in the situations that they're in. And more importantly, right, how are we going to address the issue of poverty? Because poverty is the root of the cause of all of this. And we don't want to talk about it, right? I mean, I'm not going to go off on the capitalism and all that other good stuff, but because I should, but right? You want me to go there? No, just kidding. But the reason why I say that is because it is the root of the problem, right? Because if you have access to funds, then you have access, to a doctor, to medical care. If you have access to funds, you can put your first down payment for a home. If you have access to funds, you are able to build, to have a home. And so what I want us to do differently, and what we're doing differently at the County of San Diego, is saying that, you know what, we're gonna be that safety net for you. We're gonna make sure that the resources that you need are available so that you can have a better quality of life, so that you can make sure that you are moving forward. And we know that we can't do it alone. And so I did wanna make sure that I mentioned that I'm really grateful for the work that we get to do together with the mayor. Mayor Todd Gloria has been a wonderful partner, and also the President Pro Tem. I gave you a new title. There you go. That could be a future. No, but with Sean Elo, the council president, and the work that he's doing as well, because it is extremely important that we do this together. And I think some of you may know, a couple of months ago, I made sure that we declared public, homelessness a public health care crisis. And people were asking, why would you do that? Yes. Money. Exactly. And people said, well, you can't just declare everything a public health crisis, but this is a public health care crisis. And we need to look at it from that lens because we need to get additional resources. We need to make sure that the folks at the county have the tools that they need so that they are able to move, programs and resources and move them forward. And we were able to do a lot of really innovative things with ARPA funding that came for the first time. I always tell people, I try to look at all of the positive of something because if I don't, I wouldn't be in politics. I mean, imagínate, I would always be sad. And so, honestly, if I think about what happened with COVID, what we learned from COVID was that we can break down barriers, right? That we don't have to do things the way we've always done them. And that, but there's a process. We have to do things a certain way. No. With COVID, we learned that we can move things and we can do things differently and that things, I was going to say GTSD, right? Get shit done. But we really, which I think I'm not supposed to say in public, but whatever. My poor team gets really worried when I say stuff like that. But honestly, I think that's the kind of mentality that we have to do. And that's the kind of mentality that all of you have day in and day out. You're getting shit done. You're working for people every day with minimal resources, right? You are. And you do this work. And so it is the responsibility. It is the responsibility of government and as your elected officials to do everything that we can to break down those barriers. So I'm going to read a couple of things for you so that you know some of the things that we've been doing at the county. I'm really, really proud that we were able to create a framework for ending homelessness as a comprehensive policy, right? And we are, we are holding each other accountable by making sure that the team reports to us on a quarterly basis so we can see real data, right? Because you can talk about all sorts of different things, but we need the data and we need those numbers to move so we can figure out what's working, what's not working, and what should we stop doing, right? Because government is really bad at stop doing, they're like, oh no, this is great because I created this and so we're gonna do this forever. If it doesn't work, stop doing it. Let's think about new innovative ways. Let's figure it out. And if it doesn't work, I've honestly read a lot of Brené Brown, so I really feel like, if you fail, it's okay. And I'm kidding, but I'm not, right? I mean, failure is good because failure is really how we learn. And that's what government has to do better. We have to learn that sometimes we try programs, they may not work. Let's figure it out. Nobody's going to get fired. Let's figure out how to do it better and how to make sure that it's working for our communities. And so we've done some really cool things. $704 million for root cause and upstream prevention, $77 million for diversion and mitigation, $178 million for service, treatment, and outreach, $44 million for emergency and interim housing resources, $235 million for permanent housing. So we really are investing in what's necessary. And like the council president said, we are working on the prevention piece, right? Because we want to make sure that people don't end up in this situation. I always, one of the things that we don't talk about often, and I'm trying to make sure that we elevate this a little bit more, is that if we didn't have Tijuana as our neighbor, the homeless population in San Diego would be much greater because so many people, why do you think the border wait is like 5 hours, 4 hours to cross? But, I was one of those kids that crossed the border to go to school every day. And I tell people, it gets worse and worse because people can't buy or live here anymore. A lot of our employees live in Tijuana. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I grew up in Tijuana, but it shouldn't be the case, right? Because let me tell you something, when you have to live in a different country, then you can't do the after-school programs. You can't compete for those college programs because you're not part of that community, and so it becomes really tough. So I say to folks, we have to find solutions to really help our communities here be able to be in homes, right? We're building homes, but can people afford the homes, right? We continue to build luxury homes. We need to build affordable homes, affordable housing, as well as housing for folks who are teachers, who are firefighters, who are counselors, who are, our social workers. You need to be able to afford to be in a home. And we're working on it. And if you are in a home and have a challenging time, the county and the government should be able to support you when you are in dire straits. That's what government is supposed to do. Government is supposed to help everyone, not just some, right? And so what I say to folks, right, and to the council president's point, I created the first eviction moratorium initiative in the county of San Diego, and the first one in the state, by the way. And I was told I was going to get sued and it wouldn't work. And I said, okay, go ahead, sue me. As you all know, I'm kind of like, bring it on. And so, and we got sued, and guess what the judge said? that we were on the right side. And that's yes, and that's what we need to be doing, right? So we were able to spend about $1.6 million on prevention for eviction and then $193 million on rental assistance, which means, those numbers mean 20,000 households were able to be taken care of. That's what government is supposed to do. We're supposed to work for people. We're supposed to do the prevention piece so people don't end up living in situations that they're not treated with dignity and respect. And so I want to do everything that I can. We have a wonderful team at the County of San Diego who's leading these efforts. They wake up every day thinking about this. They are your partners. We are your partners. We want to continue to be your partners. A couple of the other things that we did is that we're approving these, looking at other pilot programs on, what type of housing we should have, right? And the sleeping cabins, the sprung shelters. And I want you to help me to spread the word. You are the ambassadors, right? So when you're with your neighbors on holidays, and I know you're not supposed to talk about politics, but you can talk about this, right? You can talk about the fact that everybody says not in my backyard, right? So then where do we put folks? Well, how do we build these homes so that people can actually have some decency and have a good quality of life and they're not cold at night and in a bad place? The other thing that we did really well is I think that, this whole new concept of data tracking. Anybody else here a data geek like me, right? If you want to do policy, you got to be a data geek because you have to make sure you have that data so that you can create policy that's going to be helpful and it's going to help our communities. And so the County of San Diego has enhanced their data requirements for the homeless management information system, and then this new system is really going to have performance measures and outcomes, and we're going to be able to sort the data to really understand within the region where the biggest problems are. It doesn't sound sexy and cool, but I can assure you it's super sexy and cool because the policy recommendations that we're going to be able to get from that are going to have wonderful implications for our communities. And so I've shared a lot about the work that we've done and what we're doing, but I just wanted again to be up here and just say thank you. Thank you for your dedication, for your commitment, for your corazon, for everything that you do for our communities every day. We cannot do this alone. It's going to take innovation. It's going to take collaboration. It's going to take partnerships, resources, and I really mean this, care, right? These are human beings, and we can't forget that. This is not a political issue. This is not it shouldn't be a political hot potato. This is about real human beings, and it shouldn't be okay for us to go to a baseball game and see people on the street and walk by them and pretend that that's okay. We cannot forget about the humanity piece of the work that we're doing every day because our communities deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, and we need to do everything we can to remove those barriers so that people can have a good quality of life because everybody in San Diego County deserves to live well. And so again, thank you so much for your commitment, for your time, for everything that you do for our communities. I appreciate you. I'm your champion. I will continue to fight. And when people say no, I'm going to be like, okay, well, what else could we do? And so I got you. If you have ideas, please let me know. I won't give you my cell phone number because my team gets mad at me because I give my cell phone number. But you can find it. It's easy. But you can find me on social media everywhere. And give me your ideas. I'm looking for good ideas because innovation and these ideas is what really going to make a difference. So muchísimas gracias. I hope you have a really blessed day and you have a really, really successful day. Thank you.
Well, that gave me chills. That is just like all good, successful conferences, we're running over time. So I'm really excited about that as well. I can't think of a better way to start our day than to hear from our elected officials. One of the things I've learned in doing this work, and I appreciate Nora sharing, I've been doing it for a while, that the communities who have had significant success in reducing homelessness have garnered collective, important political will. And it is present now in our community in a way we have never seen it. So in all of the challenges that we're facing and all of the additional people that we're trying to serve, and as our landscape is changing, there are places where it has changed for the good and for the benefit of the work that we're doing. And you just heard from our elected officials their commitment, where they're driving, what's important to them, and their collaboration. That is something that we in this room need to seize that opportunity and put it to work. and make things happen from that. So I really appreciate them. Like all good elected officials, they're off to their next things. But I just am honored that they would dedicate their time this morning to kick off our first conference. I'm going to do a couple quick housekeeping things. Talked about the Whova app, but I also want to make sure that not only do we talk about our political will, but I also want to talk about and honor those in the room who are our lived experts. We're going to go into a listening and discussion session by your regions, and it's important to hear and listen, actively listen to what we're hearing from those with lived experience. 28% of those on our panels are people with lived experience, some of them very, very recent, and the importance of really building into our system their experience, and especially hearing what isn't working, will be critical to our level of success. We have over 720 people each day signed up for this conference, so we got a lot of people on, against the wall and nearly every seat filled. There's also lots of seats over here, and the reason I'm pointing that out is we have an overflow in 29 B and C for our plated lunch. For anything that happens in Ballroom A, there is screens in there, there's sound in there. Also, all of our sessions are like at the very kitty corner other end of the conference center from where we're having it in Ballroom 20A. If you have any mobility challenges, challenge walking back and forth, really take the advantage of the overflow room as well. But when you're in this room, please fill all the seats as much as you can. It's always interesting in a conference, there's always like where the furthest away from the door is where there's open seats. So as you come in, let's fill those so that everyone has an opportunity. Wi-Fi is available out in the halls, not in all of the session rooms. It's sort of spotty, but just so you know, out in the common areas, there is Wi-Fi that is free and available. We also have a number of press people that will be here today. We'll be attending some of our sessions, and feel free to engage with them as you see fit. It's important. This is an important issue. Also, we have a lot of RTFH staff. We are a small but mighty team of about 30 people, and they are here to help support you in the sessions, for lunch, anything like that. They have orange tags on, which will set them apart, and turquoise shirts on. You know, they are really the bedrock of this conference, and what I whiteboarded years ago that we wanted to do in a conference, they have really made a reality. So as you go to your next breakout sessions, those are going to be discussions about your regions. If you are not from San Diego or working in San Diego, join one of those. You're going to learn things. You're going to be a part of an important discussion. And then we'll come back here for a box lunch. We have a phenomenal first keynote speaker of our conference, Greg Coburn. He is the author of Homelessness is a Housing Problem, and it will be a positive discussion and understanding of the challenges that we have. What I hope that you gain from Greg in his presentation is good language and understanding to speak about how challenging it is to address homelessness with tight and unaffordable housing markets. It is evidence-based. He is a researcher, and he is phenomenal. I think you guys will be inspired, but I hope it also gives you good talking points and language, because we need to be able to speak powerfully about not only the great work we're doing, but some of the challenges and barriers as well. So I'm going to send you off to be a part of those discussions. You'll go out, down the hall to the regional ones. I'm just going to thank you so much, and I'll welcome you back here for lunch. Thank you.
Yesterday morning, I was walking around, me and Mr. Rodriguez on the wrong side of town.